let's kick it off with probably the biggest story of the week, and that was MiLaysia Fulwiley announcing that she's entering the transfer portal. We've had new developments in that even today, but Jared, first, let's start with your reaction just hearing the news that MiLaysia is looking elsewhere.
I mean, I know it was something that had been rumored up to this point, but it really was the ultimate shock seeing that news come out. We know that with Te-Hina Latson coming in and Raven Johnson returning, MiLaysia Fulwiley probably would have seen another year coming off the bench, which isn't a huge deal in Dawn Staley's system. But the fact that once that news came, it just hit like a knife in the heart. Like, wow, she's actually leaving, especially her being a Columbia kid. She was the last person anyone would have thought would leave. You grow up in Columbia. You grow up seeing Dawn Staley in South Carolina. And it was a surreal moment. It took a couple hours to really kick in like, wow, we are probably not seeing her on this team next year. Now, obviously, with the transfer portal, technically, she still could come back. Sure. That's not out of the question. But, yeah, it was just such a surreal moment. I had no clue, no expectation of it happening, and it came so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. In the world of the transfer portal today, anything certainly is possible. But like you said, her being a hometown kid, I know for sports director Matt Dowell, he's been covering MiLaysia since she was in high school. Yeah. So they've worked together a lot in recent years. So it was a lot for him. We're also sending our well wishes to sports director Matt Dowell. He had a minor surgery this morning, but all is good. He'll be back and joining us soon, getting some much needed rest and recovery. But back to MiLaysia. Yeah, definitely someone that grew up here, thought it was the story. Like, of course she would come to South Carolina. Of course she would become this huge name like an Asia Wilson here. Mm-hmm. And today's age in basketball, she's looking elsewhere. Obviously, neither of us have talked to her about what it is she's exactly looking for in this next move. But if we're going to look into our crystal ball, maybe see some things that might make sense for her, some teams that might make sense for her, where do you see maybe she might be landing?
Man, I know this might be a little crazy. I mean, it would be a big shift. We've got the battle of the USC next year coming up between South Carolina and Southern Cal. And I kind of like Southern Cal for her. I know some people have said, well, Juju Watkins is ball dominant. MiLaysia, she likes to have the ball in her hands. I think it could work out, though. Southern Cal, they lost a lot to the transfer portal, which obviously is not great for them. But that means there's a lot of minutes on the line right there. MiLaysia could have the chance to go there and play the 35 minutes a game because ultimately I think that's what every player wants, and it's not really something you're going to have the chance to get with South Carolina. There's just too much talent. You're lucky if you play 23 minutes a game. So USC, Southern Cal right now absolutely has everything open right now for MiLaysia Fulwiley to come in there, play those 30, 35 minutes a game, and then pair with Juju Watkins when she gets back.
I think there are a lot of things both on and off the court that would make sense about that landing. Obviously, on the court, Juju's down with an ACL tear. She might not play at all next year.
Right.
So someone like MiLaysia coming in and filling a role similar to that could be exactly what that team needs. And then off the court, the location, being in California. MiLaysia, she's a nationwide name at this point. So putting her in a state like California, not too far from the Hollywood lights, I feel like that could work out too.
She definitely have a chance to shine. I will say, like you said, the fans love her everywhere. I still feel like South Carolina fans should maybe hold out and hope for a return. Like I said, it's not impossible. I don't know if I'm being a little bit delusional in saying that and feeding delusions by saying that, but when you mention, the Hollywood lights and whatnot and MiLaysia's merch, all the deals she has, I don't think anyone's going to support her more than the South Carolina fans. I find a really hard time seeing her going elsewhere and getting that same love just because, like we said, she is a hometown kid. So I feel like MiLaysia should maybe have in the back of her mind, hey, it's still okay to return to South Carolina. Transfer portal, it's just free agency. It doesn't
just testing the waters.
Just testing the waters. Will it happen? Probably not. But so I might be feeding delusions here, but I think she should have that in her mind.
Hey, it's definitely still an option. I know that at least Gamecock fans would welcome her back with open arms. I don't think they're turning their backs on her at all with any like, oh, you abandoned us.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anything like that, especially because MiLaysia grew up here. Like, I think the fans take a lot of pride in her as well.
Absolutely.
Like, she is one of their products. She represents this state, this city. So I think wherever she lands, that team will have a lot of South Carolina fans.
Oh, yeah.
Following with MiLaysia. Before we go, we teased it for you earlier, the update in the MiLaysia Fulwiley saga. She has entered the transfer portal as of last week. The update today, she has added a do not contact tag to that. Jared, I know we made our predictions earlier for where she might go, but what does this extra element of maybe getting closer to an agreement mean?
I mean, it definitely adds some nuance to the situation because, of course, our heads go wild with where can MiLaysia go. The do not contact tag indicates she's probably already whittled down her list, and it's probably a very small list considering she's not taking callers. As far as what it means, I mean, who can really know, like we said earlier in the days of the transfer portal, but I think we're definitely nearing a decision. Usually when we see that do not contact tag, that means whether it's, I mean, it could be 5 minutes from now, it could be 2 days from now, but she probably has her mind made up on where she's set to head.
And like we said, with the transfer portal, you never know, because also last week, Sakima Walker entered the portal, and she said that she had a do not contact tag, but then a few days later, she took that back.
Right.
So things can change. Teams can make different decisions. Players can make different decisions. I know you said we're anxiously waiting for updates. We've got tweet notifications on, waiting for announcements one way or another.